Hear me? Oh, you froze. Oh, Mike, you froze right when you looked at the camera. You froze. Oh, there.
Can you hear me
You hear
now?
me? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think you froze. Like, as soon as we went live, I think you froze.
Gotcha.
How's
It
your
looks
internet?
good now. It's not bad. Should be okay, hopefully.
All right. You have kids in the house, like, streaming or anything like that?
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
she's 7 months old, so I'd be impressed if she was doing that.
She's not streaming already? I,
No.
uh I did a show with, Greg Glassman a month ago, and his internet connection was really spotty, and I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Hold on," and then he goes upstairs, and he's like, "Hey, there's, like, 14 teenagers here all on their phones, just." I'm like, "What'd you do?" He's
Oh
like, "I
no.
told him to get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, kick him out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
You popped on my radar because of this interaction you had with my boy Colten Mertens. I'm like a huge, crazy Colten Mertens fan.
Oh yeah, he's a good dude.
God, he's cool.
Yeah.
And just a good role model for human beings in general. And then
Mhm.
I saw you and your gigantic arms coaching him through this seated snatch.
Yeah, it
And
was a lot of fun. I was pretty pumped when I heard that he was up for trying seated movement. So
how does that go down, Mike? You guys are at that's Wadapalooza this year, right?
yeah. So that was at Wadapalooza. So Rolo, the guy who runs the Meme for Time page,
Uh-huh.
just hit me up. He's like, "Hey, you want to snatch with Colton?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he's like, "He's gonna try to see the snatch." I was like, "Okay." So yeah, we just all met up over at Paper Street and walked it over to the warm up area and gave it a go. So he was excited to try it. I think he was a little nervous. People were getting in his head thinking, telling him he was only going to hit like 100 pounds. He ended up doing really well. So
How cool is it that on all three of your parts to do that? You know what I mean? What's the guy's name? The Meme for Time guy's name? It's the guy with the wild hair, right?
yeah, Rolo. Yeah,
Rolo?
Roderick is his name, but everybody calls
Roderick.
him Rolo.
That's okay. Roderick. Okay. And
Yeah,
what do people call him? Rolo?
Rolo. Yeah.
Yeah. That how cool is it that he did he know you before that?
Yeah. So I met him at a wheel log competition out in North Carolina. But I've talked to him quite a bit in the past. He helps train another adaptive athlete, Brett Plauser. So I've talked to him quite a bit beforehand, but really great dude. Um,
Is
and
he in the
pretty.
adaptive scene? I didn't know that. Does he specializes in training adaptive athletes or I didn't
I think Brett is one of his first. I could be wrong, but he really dove kind of headfirst into the adaptive scene when he went to Wheel Wad this first time this past year, and has been really passionate about helping the adaptive community just kind of highlight what we're doing and everything. So
Hey, could we try with or could we try without those headphones? I'm wondering if we
sure.
could get better audio just with your phone. Not that it's like horrible, but let me see what happens now. If we switch to just your phone. Oh, now I got a crazy echo. Do you guys hear the echo? You might have to switch a setting on your phone. There we go. Oh yeah, we're getting there. And then I think you're muted too. There we go.
How's that?
Oh, way better.
All right, cool.
Okay, good. I'm glad I asked. Okay, it was just
Yeah.
getting a little tin canny, and the S's were getting kind of crazy.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you know him because he coached one of your peers, one of your competitors. You met him at a competition, and then he just rolled up to you at Wadapalooza, and he's like, "Hey," and then he got Colten, and then he filmed it.
Yeah, it's kind of just how it happened. So, yeah, he was like, "Let's try this. Let's highlight this a little bit and see what happens." So, it was interesting to see him try out a seated movement for the first time. It's not as easy as you might think, for sure.
It looks hard as shit to me. Hey,
Yeah.
I hate to dote on the community, but man, there's no better place to dote on it than right here. You're never gonna get two athletes from two different divisions in other sports, or it's gonna be rare, who are just gonna actually do their profession and come together. Like, what a trippy scene we're in that he can get like one of the best in the world in their specific divisions, and then just while there's some downtime, get them to actually play. I mean, it's just kind of it's really unique to this sport. Like, you're not seeing that. You're not going to see shit like that in the Super Bowl unless they're trying to make some sort of virtue signaling statement, like when they traipse those kids out there. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
The Hawaiian kids, they brought them out there.
Yeah.
They could have bought one of those kids a house for all the money they spent doing that.
Probably, yeah.
Those did look like good kids, though, didn't they?
I know that was cool. I was happy to see them bring them out there. That was a cool, one of the cooler parts of the Super Bowl for sure.
But this is legit what you guys are doing. Like you and Colten are like, man, it's really cool.
Yeah, just to have him kind of, be open to trying that and highlight that was really cool of him. Not a lot of people take the time out of the day and do that, try, especially a new movement when you're a competitor, you try a new movement.
When he's competing, Mike, even, right? I mean, he was
right,
in the middle of a competition. Yeah,
exactly. So really like down to earth dude. I was really excited to meet him and have the opportunity to do that.
How long have you been competing?
A little over 2 years now, so not too long.
And how many competitions have you done?
So I've done Wheel Wad twice, Wadapalooza twice, and CrossFit Games twice.
Okay, so you've gone. Those are the 3 biggest events in the space.
Yeah.
And have you always been an athlete?
No. So I've always been pretty like physically active. I've been a trainer for several years, but I wasn't in the CrossFit space until a little over 2 years ago.
And when you were a trainer, what's that look like?
Just a personal trainer. So I would just work one-on-one with people, but it wasn't tailored to CrossFit. It was just weightlifting, powerlifting, overall fitness. And it was kind of interesting how I got into like the CrossFit space. Was very not planned.
Did you meet your wife training her?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
I met my wife. Wow, it's been probably over almost 10 years now. I wrote an article a long time ago that got published, and she ended up seeing it, and we kind of communicated through that. So it was kind of crazy.
Your wife met you through writing.
Yeah.
She read through literature. Great. Oh,
Yeah.
Can I hear that story? Oh, hold on, Heidi. Is he in a wheelchair? Hold on, Heidi. Don't ruin the punchline. No, hold on. Can you tell me that story? I'm very curious.
Yeah. So I actually, like early into my recovery, after I was injured, my sister suggested to me, she's like, you should start writing. It'll help be like therapeutic and stuff. So I kind of started just writing different stuff on like a very, like my own little blog. And I wrote an article about the day I got injured, and it got picked up by someone over at the Washington Post, and they published it. And they published it online, and they attached like all of my social media and stuff to it, which I didn't know about. And it got around quite a bit, and she reached out via that article, and we started talking from that, which was crazy.
How old are you now?
35.
So you were 25.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the Washington Post, but
no,
but I'm really now it's the first nice thing I've ever heard.
What
did the articles say?
They started like a military section of a blog like recently for the Washington Post there, so they posted some cool stuff.
What was she doing reading that section?
I don't know. I think it just got shared around on like social media and stuff eventually, and made the rounds, and somebody shared it to her. So it was pretty interesting.
Can you tell me what, in a nutshell, what the article was about, and what captured her attention?
So I think the article, mainly it was just like it talked about the day I was deployed and got injured. So it was kind of like a brief overhaul of like, hey, this is what we were doing over there. This is, on the day, and going through.
He froze. I think the last thing he said was, go back. So it was an article about the day you were injured, and it was going through, and then you cut out. Take off from there.
It was going through basically, kind of my mental thought process, or the lack thereof at the time of what was really happening. So it was pretty vulnerable article that at first I was like, I wish I didn't post that. And then I was like, I don't know if I was ready to talk about that, but I ended up meeting my wife from it. So it worked out.
What was there actually something in there in hindsight that you think was vulnerable, or do you think that it was more where you were at in your head at the time? What do you think now, looking back at it?
Yeah, I think it was just.
Are you proud of it
now?
That
mentally when I wrote it, was probably not the most like clear-minded I've ever been. So I was like, I was kind of apprehensive about like, I would have wrote it differently had I, at the time, I was very still on heavy medication for my injuries. So I was like, I don't know if I should have wrote that just yet, but I mean, it was vulnerable. It was real. It's how I felt at the time. So it's out there, and I met my wife from it. So
were her parents in the military?
No. Her parents weren't in the military. No.
And did she live near a military base? Did she have any interest in like military stuff? Was she in the military?
No, she wasn't in the military. So she was actually with someone prior in the military who passed away. So
wow.
Yeah.
From a deployment?
From a training accident.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah. So that's why it got shared to her, and we kind of bonded through loss and dealing with stuff. So that's how we kind of connected on that level.
Wow, what an amazing story. So when she reached out to you, it wasn't so much in courtship, that was just a byproduct of it. It was just more like, hey, I got some wounds and you got some wounds. You want to, can we talk?
Yeah. And that's how it just started. We talked for a long time, and then we realized there was something there. So we just kind of connected on that level of just going through hard times.
Dude, what a great story. This story, I feel like the story is like from 1812. You know what I mean? It feels like it's like a real timeless human story. Doesn't it? Like, wow, what a great story. And where did you live at the time?
So I lived here. San Antonio is where I did my physical rehab after I got injured and got out of the military.
And where did she live?
Seattle.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are you in San Antonio now?
Yeah, we both live here in San Antonio with our daughter. Yeah.
Oh man, congrats on the daughter, dude.
Thank you.
Oh my God, you have a perfect baby.
I have to agree. Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was looking through the pictures. I'm not trying to be a dick, but some people don't get perfect babies. You got like I was looking at those early videos and stills and pictures you have, and just the way her eyelids move and those veins and dude, you got a perfect.
Yeah.
You guys are yeah. Wow. That was, I forgot that's how babies look, because you have some videos in there of when she's really young. And she's at home, and she looks like, how like they look like they're moving and they're underwater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They look like sea anemones, or the way, and I'm like, oh my God, he got a perfect one.
Oh yeah. It's nerve-wracking when that small, man. I'm like, just like,
she looks so healthy. She looks so good.
Thank you.
Look, Jay Hartle, Black Hawk crash. Usually what happens in train accidents. Was her friend in a Black Hawk crash, you know?
No, I believe it was a mortar accident.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So you how old were you when you got into the military?
I was 19, 20, somewhere around there. Yeah.
And you're born and raised in San Antonio, Mike?
So I grew up in Houston. But I went to college here in San Antonio before I joined the military, and I love it here. So that's why I ended up wanting to stay here.
Whenever I go to the Trulia app and I start looking at homes in San Antonio, it makes me want to move. Man, you guys got affordable housing there. Crazy homes there.
It's definitely blowing up because of that. So the city has grown quite a bit since I first been here, and yeah, prices are pretty good here for sure.
Yeah, it's unreal what you can get. And so you get out of high school and you go straight to the military, and why did you do that?
Well, I did a couple of years of college before I joined the military. But I was like, after I got into college, I was like, I've been wanting to do this. I've thought about it. I was like, if I'm going to do it, I need to join. And otherwise, if I get through my college career, I probably won't. So just decided that.
Why did you want to do it?
I mean, I really just wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself, and just kind of go out there and try something new. A lot of different reasons, but as a whole, like, I just wanted to be a part of something bigger.
Did you like hardship? Were you like up for the challenge too?
For sure, yeah. Not as much as a couple of my buddies growing up. They were all like, "We're going to go on the SEALs program," and I was like, "I'm definitely not ready for that." So yeah, I joined the Marines, which obviously still very challenging in and of itself. But yeah, I was very thankful I chose what I did and met the people I did along the way.
So you joined, and how are your parents? How are your parents about when you joined?
Supportive, nervous.
Nervous.
Yeah, Marines are kind of known for going out there and doing the hard job. So she's apprehensive at first, but supportive for sure.
And what year was this that you entered the Marines?
I joined in 2008.
And interesting. So I'm holding a camera, running around, filming the first CrossFit Games or second CrossFit Games, and you're joining the Marines. I remember Tony Budding said to me one time. I was talking to him on the phone. I was sitting at a cafe, sipping a cup of coffee, and good little Berkeley boy. And Tony Budding said to me, "Hey, remember, dude, while you sit there and drink your fucking $10 cappuccino, that there's dudes out there fighting for your freedoms." And I was like, "Fuck you." But as a 51-year-old man, those words resonate with me now. So you're there, and can you tell me about that? Can you tell me about just how you ended up being in Afghanistan? What led up to the accident? Can you give me the backstory so we can feel like we're there a little bit?
Yeah. So
what it's like getting the news that you're going to be deployed, all that. Were we in a war at that time? All that stuff.
Yeah. So I knew at a certain point I was, we were going to deploy to Afghanistan. There was several companies that were just rotating out. It was still very much the height of, everything going on over in Afghanistan. So I went to 1st Battalion 8th Marines back in 2010. So we did a workup, we did some training, and we left in 2012. Or no, so I went to 1st Battalion 8th Marines in 2011. We did the workup, and I deployed in 2012, January. I was a squad leader at the time, so
Mike, were you getting out? That's 4 years.
So I signed up for a different contract. I was on a 5-year contract.
Okay.
Because I did 3 years in a different unit before I went over to the infantry, where constantly going over to Afghanistan.
And what did you say? In 2012, you were a squad leader?
The squad leader, yeah.
What's that mean?
So within a platoon, there's different team leaders that hold different responsibilities. So there's the team leaders in charge of like 5 guys, a squad leader's in charge of the team leaders and the guys underneath them. So anywhere from like 15 guys. Then there's a platoon leader who's in charge of the squad leaders, who's in charge of like 30.
So in the chain of command, you weren't at the bottom anymore. You had worked your way up a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. So I was at any point in time during combat operations in charge of 15 to 30 people, as we were out there in Afghanistan. So did the workup, we deployed. The first couple months in our deployment were pretty chill. We just did some security type stuff, and then it really picked up later on the deployment. A couple months in, we were assigned as a helo company. So essentially what we would do is we would plan raids to where we would hop on a helo and they would drop us in the heat of it for a week or two and then come pick us up once we were done with what we needed to do. So we did a lot of helo raids that were very highly kinetic and a lot of firefights at the time.
Can you tell me what that means? Would there be like a I'm just completely making this up. I have no clue, but there's a 4-way intersection and they're like, hey, don't let anyone pass through here for the next week. Would it be shit like that?
Yeah,
or
sometimes that was like our mission was just like, hey, we're going to push them back. Sometimes it was, we would be told there was high value targets in the area. We'd go and try and find these people. Sometimes it was, hey, there's an explosive, they're making explosives out of this location. We got to go find it. So it was really kind of based off of whatever intel they were gathering and what we needed to do in order to neutralize that. So, yeah, it was kind of but yeah, the majority of it was like, hey, we need to push them back. But our overall goal at the time, I would say, would be to train Afghan National Army and police to take over once we pulled out. So we constantly had Afghan National Army and police shadowing us essentially as we would go and operate in these areas. And our main goal was to train them on how to properly, push back the Taliban and stuff like that.
God, this sounds so wild. So you and 15 to 30 guys would get dropped off somewhere, and then there'd be some local dudes there helping you translate and supposed to be learning stuff from you.
Yeah.
And then you would be on these missions that what sounds like always ended up being contentious. You were basically trying to do something that someone else didn't want you to be doing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn. And that started after you were there for 2 months already.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first month or so, yeah, it was a lot of just security type stuff. But after that, we really got into the heavy stuff where we'd fly in and already be getting shot at. So it was very much, we were there to do what we needed to do. And it was very highly active where they were dropping us off. So.
And you'd be there for like a week at a time, 7 days.
Sometimes it would be just a few days. Sometimes it would be, a couple.
Where do you sleep when they drop you off? Like, I'm assuming you don't go to a campground at night and camp.
No. Yeah. You just try and find something with a sturdy 4 walls and, hope it's enough. So
it's a legit war scene. Like you're like, okay, guys, there's an abandoned building. Let's go over there. And that's where we're going to sleep tonight. And you make those decisions?
For the most part, yeah. Once initial landing on a mission is usually planned out, but from there, yeah, if we push through a certain area, it was my job to kind of like, okay, we're gonna hold down in this area. We'll push out from here.
And it's all on foot, Mike. There's no you don't have vehicles. It's all on foot.
Yeah, there's no vehicles. No, I mean, you could call in air support when you needed it or artillery support, but for the most part, it was just boots on the ground. Yeah, just us out there.
And you're carrying your food and water too?
Yeah. There was a couple instances where we were out there for so long and we ran out, so we'd get airdrops of supplies and stuff like that.
And that's just like in the movies, like a plane comes over and it just a fucking pallet with some shit comes out and like half of it's damaged when you get to it.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, we go out there, they drop us supplies and be like, all right, I'll see you later in a few days when we come pick you up. So.
Wow, crazy. When you were out there, did you ever lose any soldiers?
Thankfully, no, not in my squad.
Okay.
As a unit as a whole, we did, but
not in your squad.
No. So I was injured, and my interpreter was also injured. But those were the only things we sustained as my squad was both of us being injured on the same day.
Bruce Wayne, sleeping in a hut, the good old days.
Yeah.
Manny C. Serrano, thank you so much for your service, Mike.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, so you're out there for a month, and then a month in, these missions start up, and that's where I interrupted you. Okay, so
Yeah. No, I mean that's basically the gist of the remainder of our deployment was just go out there and whatever mission we were handed at the time, and we'd go out there for a week or two and do our job. So
and how long were you doing that for?
did that for about 5 months, I believe, before I was injured, and then my unit was still out there for about another month or so after I got sent back to the States.
Can you tell me about the injury? What led up to it and the injury?
So it was probably our most kinetic, like most highly active op at the time. We were out there, and it was just, since we flew in, it was just constantly, in firefights and stuff like that.
Was it a city scene? Was it a village scape, or what was it like?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty populated area. Most of the locals, they know when the Taliban's in the area and they clear out, they go somewhere else. So it's like the only people you're dealing with, you do not, they're
the bad
usually
guys?
Taliban. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was just abandoned buildings everywhere that were laced with IEDs or traps or, anything else before we came in there. So
what was the mission? What was the mission? Just to get those guys out of the village, or to stop them, or to eliminate them? What was the mission?
At the time, I believe it was just to push them back, because it was like they were setting up shop. They had weapons caches and different stuff. They were shooting like old weapon systems that were left behind by different armies at a lot of our helicopters and stuff. So we were trying to push them back from basically like a staging area. And we actually found, one of my guys in my squad, we actually found one of the largest caches in Afghanistan of just like weapons, explosives, police uniforms, suicide vests, you name it. Like it was essentially like this giant well, and we're just walking by it, and he looks down and he's like, "Oh, I kind of see something down there." And so we go check it out, and it's just, it goes on. There's like hundreds of explosives. We call out EOD, so we're like, "This is more than we can handle. We need you to check this stuff out." And they just kept pulling stuff out, and they're like, "There's an actual tunnel system down there where they have cars that drive underground."
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was one of the times where we had to get airdrop supplies, because we were out there trying to figure out exactly how far this went. And yeah, we ended up not being able to fully like search the area because it was so massive. So we just blew it up.
Yeah. Sounds right.
But yeah, so it was a big win for us, because it was, I mean, weapon systems that can shoot down helicopters in there. So we were pretty pumped to find that and be able to take that out.
Okay, so you're there. It's a big firefight. Lots of bad guys around. Lots of booby traps.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even on into the well to protect, like, essentially where they were holding all this stuff, they had IEDs every other step. And we didn't know that initially.
What does that mean? Is that landmines for us laymen? When you say they're just they're on the
IEDs
ground?
is like a improvised explosive device. Essentially, what sets it off is you have a pressure plate, so like 2 pieces of plywood, with a switch, any light amount of pressure, a few pounds, and activates that switch. And
so for the layman, that's a landmine, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they had IEDs on like every other step on the way down to this cache where they were protecting their stuff. And we did not properly search the area before going down there, but no one was injured. So we were very lucky. Everyone took the opposite step on the way down. And then EOD got out there and be like, y'all don't know how lucky you are. This could have been very bad.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of instances where we were very lucky and fortunate. But it was a big one for us for sure.
But that is where you got injured.
Was on an IED, yes. So that was a different day. I believe it was the same helo raid we were doing. So essentially it was early morning. There was no one around. It was pretty quiet, but I just kind of knew something was off. So we were on a foot patrol, walking around, and I just stepped on IED. So yeah, it was from there. It was on that same raid, but yeah, I was just doing a normal foot patrol and stepped on IED.
So do you even remember stepping on it?
Yeah, I was awake the whole time. So
did you know as soon as you stepped on it? Were you like, was there a split second where you're like, fuck?
I was definitely disoriented. It was a highly explosive IED. I don't know how big it was, but I went through the air for quite a bit of time and landed on my head. So I was very disoriented with, dust all around you. You kind of don't know where you're at or what just happened until the pain kind of sets in.
And your ears are ringing like crazy.
Yeah. So it was a very hard to comprehend how exactly or how much your life just changed in an instant, so it was coming to terms with that, and then also just kind of realizing like, this might be it,
Yeah. Did you just assume you were gonna die? I would just start
for
being
sure.
like,
Yeah.
dear God, I apologize for never believing in you.
Yeah.
I'm flipping the script on that right here.
Yeah. I mean, my injuries were pretty intense. So there's a lot of worry, even like after they put me on the helo, they're like, I don't know if this guy's going to make it.
How long did it take for the helicopter to come?
Oh man, it felt like eternity.
Yeah.
But they were quick. I was fortunate to have my lieutenant there at the time in my squad. So he called up on the radio. I trained with my corpsman who just basically started doing everything he needed to do immediately. Put the tourniquets on.
Did you had your legs still on you?
No, so I instantly became a bilateral amputee.
Just blew your legs off.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I sustained bilateral, like both my legs were gone. And
did you know, or you don't even know? Do you know?
I didn't know. I tried to even get up after, and that's when I realized I'm like, oh, I can't get up. So that was kind of the realization, like, this is bad. I didn't know how bad it was because I couldn't move very well, but yeah, it was pretty much instantaneous once it happened.
And the interpreter was standing next to you?
What's that?
The interpreter was standing next to you?
No, he wasn't standing next to me. So essentially when you hit one IED, it's very likely that there are several in the area because their goal is panic. Like once you step on one, you try and set up, obviously you're not going anywhere for a while. So he actually, after I was injured and, I was getting worked on by my corpsman, he grabbed my rifle and he went to go set it down against a wall. And unfortunately, where he set the rifle down, there was another IED.
Did you hear that one go off?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
So
they succeeded. That's what they want. They want chaos.
Yeah.
And damn.
Yeah. So it was very unfortunate at the time. Like I didn't fully understand or comprehend what exactly was going on, but it was especially like the interpreters, man. Those guys want to bring the fight more than anyone else, even us, you know. So
They have an axe to grind. They're pissed. Their
for sure.
country's they're pissed
Yeah.
at the Taliban. And so how long does it take for the helicopter to come get you?
I don't remember exactly how long. It'd probably be
Hours?
no, not hours. They're pretty responsive. But I'd say less than half an hour.
And what are your buddies telling you at the time? Are they talking to you?
They're just trying to keep me awake, you know, really try and just make sure I don't pass out, because then you kind of open up to like possible brain injury, you know. So it's just trying to keep me awake, keep me calm as much as possible.
And if the guy wouldn't have been there to put the tourniquet on you, you would have just bled out and died?
For sure. Within minutes. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm really alive because of
Was that
how
the first
responsive
tourniquet?
everyone was.
Was that the first tourniquet you think that guy's ever been put on? Like a real one, not like on a dummy?
For a real one, yeah. Yeah.
Fuck,
sure.
he must have been so fucking nervous, that guy.
It wasn't his first deployment. He's very good at his job. And as a squad leader, I trained him very heavily on like
Pull that
like,
thing tight, buddy.
yeah, pull it tight, do it quick. And he knew exactly what he needed to do. You know, despite the chaotic nature of it, and like just watching it's your buddy, you know, it's someone you know, and they're dependent on you. And he did everything he needed to, and I'm still here because of it. So always thankful for that.
Mike, did you hear anyone between you getting picked up and whenever you went unconscious say anything like, hey, this guy's not going to make it, or he might not make it? Did you hear any talk like that?
No.
Because I mean, clearly, if you see someone with their legs off, you got to assume that they're not going to make it.
Yeah. I don't remember hearing anything like that. I do remember waking up on a plane at a certain point on my way back.
Where do they take you? Like to Germany or something?
Yeah. So they'll take you to Germany. They do like the quick surgeries to get you stable before they send you back stateside. So, but I remember waking up on the plane and, yeah, that was probably the moment I realized I'm like, okay, my life is completely changed. Cause I just look around and I see other guys that are injured, you know, other people that didn't make it at the time. Cause that was one of the ops where it was, like I said, it was really rough. So we lost people, while we were out there, but,
it's got to be pretty surreal. You wake up in the plane. Is that when you realize your legs are gone?
I wouldn't even say then I realized how extensive my injuries were. So I woke up real quick, and then they put me in a medical induced coma because I was going into shock. So from then on, I didn't remember anything until I woke up in the hospital.
In Germany. And are you all alone when you wake up? Any family or friends there?
So I didn't have anyone in Germany, but they were waiting for me stateside once I got to Walter Reed, where I basically went through, I don't even know how many surgeries. I think I had over 40 surgeries.
Yeah, I read 40.
Yeah.
And you were in, how long did they keep you in coma for? How medically induced coma?
Not too long.
Weeks or days?
I'd say less than a week.
And you spent 2 months in the hospital?
Yeah, a little over 2 months.
Hey, I don't remember where I read it, but this part was the part that really tripped me out. I'd never thought of this. You're 24 at the time, and I guess as human beings, we project out how we see our life is going to be, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, with your legs gone, your projection didn't make sense anymore.
Right.
And you went into a depression. And it's weird because, like, I think of myself as pretty mindful, but I was like, fuck, I I don't know if I do that. But did you know that you projected forward in time, or did that become a harsh reality too when you realized your legs were like everything was going to change? Like, did that introduce you to ways that the mind works that you didn't realize it worked?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you don't think about it until you realize, like, you could project forward and kind of have all these plans for yourself and where you see your life going in the direction, that you want, and coming to that realization, like all those ideas or goals or aspirations I had are no longer in the cards. Or
Your
you
whole
just,
life has to be reworked.
right. Yeah.
You're not going to be a NASCAR driver or world-class marathoner, or
Right.
you're not
Or,
going to
I
be
mean,
climbing ladders and working on roofs or anything.
yeah, I mean, you could be doing even some of those things, but you don't see how it's possible at the
Okay,
time.
okay.
You don't think about, how do I function and do even just normal daily tasks without legs?
Right.
I had no exposure to that kind of heavy injuries on, how to basically function on a normal basis, like day to day. So it was, yeah, that was, I think what you read was, it was like the first time I took a picture after my injuries was because my guys were still over in Afghanistan, and there was like misinformation going around on how I was doing and stuff. Yeah. And basically it was like, that was my realization moment. Like, oh, like that was the first time I saw like a full body picture of myself. And I'm like, I do not look the same. So that was the first time I hopped out of the hospital bed. And
Were you in
basically, again,
amazing shape when that happened?
I was in pretty good shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was,
Because you look pretty good there. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think that dude's been in bed for 2 months.
yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I lost a lot of muscle mass. I think around there, I was probably around 110.
What are you now? You're more than that?
155.
Wow.
Yeah.
150 with no legs. That's
With
crazy.
no legs. Yeah.
So you're this kind of the same size man I am, but I have legs.
Yeah. I'm pretty big guy for not having legs. So
How tall were you?
6 foot.
And how much what's the most you ever weighed in your life?
Pre-injury, probably somewhere close to 200 pounds.
Yeah, but you look bigger than a 6-foot guy.
Right.
Like, you're a big
Yeah.
guy. You were a big guy. Yeah, I mean, you look like a fucking giant. In those shots next to Colten when you're in your wheelchair, you look like a fucking monster.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely, training has been paying off for sure.
And in some of the footage, I see that you have prosthetic legs. Do you not use those anymore?
So I have them. I need to get refitted for them in order to use them more on like a daily basis. Yeah. So that was
When's the
actually
last
here.
time you put those on?
It's been a minute. So I don't fit in them currently. Like if I put them on and try to take a few steps, they'd probably fall off.
You don't want them? You don't want them?
No, I do want them. I just need to go see my prosthetist and get refitted for them.
No, you're what? You're prosthetist?
Prosthetist.
Honey, I swear it's a prosthetist.
No, yeah, prosthetist.
Honey, listen. I'm not good at spelling. Stop reading my text. I'm just bad at spelling.
Yeah, that would be a dangerous.
But why isn't that urgent for you to do? I don't get it. Like, if I lost my glasses, I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah.
But you lost your legs and you're like, yeah, I'll get around to it.
It's painful to walk.
Oh.
And it's much easier to get around in a chair.
Where's it painful? Like just cutting into your, like where it attaches?
Yeah. So basically what you do is you sit in a socket with your residual limb, and mine is a severed femur. So it's just constant impact as you're taking each step.
Oh, on the bone there?
Yeah.
Hey, so you do have some of your legs left?
Yes.
Oh, how stoked are you? Fuck.
So is very fortunate. So because if you have even too high amputation, it's really hard to use prosthetics, even more so. So
And your balance, I have to assume your balance and everything is so much better than if you didn't, and just your ability to do certain things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I still have the majority of my femur. My amputations are like right above the knee. So I still have like even some muscle and some ligaments to where I can, swing through on the prosthetics. So very fortunate in that respect, to be able to do that. I don't have my knees, so I do need mechanical knees with my prosthetics. But yeah.
Hey, are you, I don't know how to ask this. Are you, do you accept your new body, or are you comfortable in your new body, or is it still you wake up every morning and you're like I got a new car once, and like every morning I woke up for like 3 years, I couldn't believe I had a new car. Or like I got a new refrigerator a couple days ago, I can't even fucking believe it. Like I walk by it and I can't. But if my whole body changed, I don't know if in 10 years it would be enough time for me to be like,
Yeah, I think
is it
I
still weird?
finally,
Like you're like, what?
yeah, no, I've come to terms with it
Yeah.
now. But it took a long time. Took several years. I mean,
Is
I
there a
would
moment?
still,
Is there a moment or no? Just one day you realize, oh shit, I've come to terms with it.
I think it's just a progressive thing over time, and you face it several times. So like early on in my injury, I mean, it was hard. You try and get your mind off of it. You go to the movie theater, you watch I remember as a time I went to go see a movie with my family. Um, and you're invested in a movie, you're watching for like 2 hours, credits roll, and what do? You get up and you leave the movie theater. Well, I was still trying to get up, and I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
you forgot in that 2 hours, you kind of just
right.
lost yourself. Wow,
Because
crazy.
you're so invested in like the movie and everything, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, and then I'm like, oh wait, I can't do that anymore. So it's like moments like that you realize you're like, it hits you hard. So initially the first few years were pretty difficult. You can't get out of bed how you normally got out of bed. Um, so it was a long time coming to terms with it, and then just over time you just learn to adapt.
What do you do? Do they, what do you do when you get out of the Marine? So you lose your legs, and then are you immediately out of the Marines? Or like, okay, you're done. Bye.
So not initially. So you go through PT.
Uh-huh.
They make sure you're able to
Could you have
function.
signed up for another 4 years? Could you be like, nah, I'm staying?
Yeah, right. You can.
You can't.
So they will not kick you out based on combat injury. Obviously, like depending on your injuries or how severe they are, it limits essentially what you can do
Sure.
within the military. But I know guys who
But
have
you
the
could still
same.
train dudes or do a desk job, or you could
Exactly.
still like, I mean, clearly you could be a coach, or I don't know, boot camp guy or whatever those guys are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I mean,
Or
I
you could
know that.
lead, or you could lead. You could be a general. I mean, fuck.
True.
Right.
Yeah. I know
I'd
guys
want
who
a
had the
general who
same.
lost his legs. Then it's like someone who fucking knows, like, hey, this shit's
Right.
fucked up, crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. There are guys who have the same level of injuries as me that are still active duty and out there, and so kudos to them. I wanted to be go out there and um, be in the infantry and stuff. So it was like I knew that wasn't an option for me anymore. So I just decided I would be better off getting out of the military. But
I'd want to stay. This is gonna make me sound like a pussy, but maybe because I am. But I'd want to stay just to for security. Okay, I'm not gonna get deployed again. I'm gonna get a paycheck. I know. Like, I don't want any more change. I don't want to go out to I already lost my legs. I don't want to go to the outside world. That's too much. That's even more change.
right.
Like, was part of you like, I'll just stay? It's kind of like staying in the military would be like staying in the womb a little longer.
I thought about it. Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's very like you would be well taken care of. Um, if you stayed in the military, yeah, your job wouldn't be as dangerous, whatever you're doing, and they take good care of you. But yeah, I mean, and that's a decision a lot of guys had to face back then was like, what direction do I take my life now? Like, if I get out, I have no idea what I'm going to do or where I'm going to go. But I knew that had to happen eventually. You can't stay in the military forever. At some point, they're going to boot you, no matter how good you are. So I just kind of decided, I was like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life.
Okay, so how long after your injury do you get out?
Let's see, I got injured in May of 2012. I got out in January 2014.
So 2
it's-
years.
Yeah, it's
2
like
years
a
of
year
basically
and a half.
rehab.
Yeah.
Did they ever put you in another job, or no, it was just all healing, a year and a half of just healing?
So when you get combat injured, you get sent to Wounded Warrior Battalion, and your job essentially is just to get better.
You're in a battalion with just all injured dudes? Just everywhere
Yeah.
you look, are there dudes with pieces missing?
Yeah, I say battalion, so it sounds like this massive thing. Where I
Yeah.
was located, it was
Yeah.
small because it was in San Antonio. So you have Wounded Warrior Battalion West and East for the Marine Corps, which are huge battalions at the time for combat injured. And then San Antonio was very small, but I mean, it was still like 30, 40 dudes that were, sustained combat injuries.
Someone should do a sitcom about that place, and like some part in the show you cry and some part in the show you laugh.
Yeah.
What a crazy scene, dude.
For sure. Yeah.
Did you make any friends there you're still friends with?
Yeah, I still know like a few of them that are local, but a lot of them, I met a lot of people in my time there that were even not in the Marine Corps, but I still keep tabs on a lot of Marines that I know that are there. And
Did you meet anyone who just had the exact same shit going on you did? Yep, they looked at you, you looked at him, and you're like, oh fuck, you stepped on an IED. He's like, you're like, yeah, me too.
yeah, it was a pretty common injury to sustain back then. So there's a lot of amputees over there for sure.
Wild. You know, motorcycles accidents used to be the leading like business for prosthetics, and you know what it is now?
What's that?
Type 2 diabetes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever think about that? You're like, motherfucker, like you see people with like, I mean, you must see it all the time in Texas, but people with legs, and you're like, dude, you need to be taking better care of your body. I would do anything to have those fucking things, and you're eating like an asshole, and you're not like, when's the last time you took those things out for a run? Like, do you think that sometimes? Like, shit.
Probably
it's like when you see an old guy in a Lamborghini, you're like, why do you get that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Probably in the beginning, stuff like that would frustrate me, but people are just kind of, in their own lives and in their own environment, and they can kind of get to the point where, health, the detriment to your health over time, and you don't really think about stuff like that till you're like, oh crap, you need to cut your leg off because you have diabetes. Like, and then the realization comes like I made mistakes,
Crazy mistakes, all through putting stuff in your mouth.
Right. But it's kind of like you don't think about it in the moment, right? Or
right.
So.
Or you just can't stop, right? That's how crazy the addiction is.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Do you have anyone in your family who has had an amputation because of diabetes?
No, I haven't. But yeah,
if you see it, you should have a talk with them before it happens. Be like, dude,
well, I've trained people who are amputees that are from diabetes and stuff. So
you have.
Yeah. So it was a hard realization for him, but I mean, it's like nobody thinks about having a disability at any point in their life, but you can get a car accident and you're going to wake up, it's not going to be the same. So yeah, it's coming to that realization.
And it's crazy right now how healthy you are, right? I mean, you look amazing. You look like a perfect specimen of a man.
Thanks.
Yeah. You look rock solid.
Yeah, it was a lot of trial and error figuring out like, how do I, I mean, fitness really kind of changed my life. It gave me a new perspective on like, okay, I can still do these things, but I didn't know what I was doing after I initially got injured. So just rolled into like a Globo gym, and I was like, I don't know how to use 90% of this equipment. What do I do?
What year was that?
So that was probably like 2016.
You didn't
So-
work out from 2012 to 2016.
So I mean, I did like normal PT. When you're in Wounded Warrior Battalion, they don't care. They'll make you do PT and stuff. But it's very like limited type stuff, mainly cardio. They have equipment that's adapted while you're in the military here in San Antonio. So I used a lot of that equipment, like cable stuff. But once you're out of the military, it's like, good luck, figure it out. So kind of figuring out how I can essentially continue to try and progress and be better. I had to figure out on my own. That's why I became a trainer. I was like, I want to help people figure this out, that have possibly sustained any type of disability.
So 2012 to 2016, you haven't stepped foot in a Globo gym, and then you go to a Globo gym. Tell me about, like, who took you there? Why did you go there?
I just went myself. Yeah, I just went myself, and I was like, I want to.
Like, rolled up to a Planet Fitness, and they're like $20 sign-in fee.
Yeah.
And you're like, here you go. And then you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So it was a realization. I'm like, okay, none of this stuff is tailored to me. How do I make it work? And a lot of stuff I was like, okay, well, I'll start with free weights. That's easy. They're like, okay, how do I use these machines? Transferring to a machine or stuff like that. And
did you ever get fat? Were you fat at this time or no?
I gained a good amount of weight. And I think that was kind of like my turning point. Is like I took a picture with, oh man.
Were you with your girl at that time?
So we were.
Did you start working out because of her?
No, I started working out ahead of time. I took a picture for, well, one, it was like this big event I went to, and I met like President Bush or something, and I had to wear
the second Bush.
Yes, I had to wear my dress blues, and I no longer fit in my dress blues, and I was very upset about that. And so I realized, I'm like, okay, I need to basically get off my ass and try and be better. So that was kind of my like turning point. I'm like, okay, my health, like this is the body I have today. I need to try and treat it better. So
and did you enjoy that first trip to the Globo gym? Did you enjoy it?
No, it was awful. Yeah. I just didn't know what I was doing. Obviously I'd spent a lot of time working out prior to that, but I was like, I don't know how to make this work.
And some of these things that I'm seeing, so I recognize this movement, obviously pull up. I recognize this movement, obviously deadlift. But how about there's one coming up here. I don't know if you can see it on your phone. So is this a burpee?
Essentially a burpee to target. Yeah. So,
okay, burpee to target. And then what's this next move? This next thing might be something like, no, not the muscle up. There's one coming up that I'm like, oh, maybe I should have my sons do this. It's like a gymnastics move where you put your hand. I recognize this. This is kind of a What's this?
So that's we just call that like a Florida box transfer, Florida bench. So it's essentially like your box jump, right? So when you look at the box jump, what is the stimulus? You start at the ground, you go to a higher location. So how do you do that when you don't have legs? You can't do a box jump. So you take yourself from a low point to a higher point is, essentially what you're going for.
Were your arms ever this big before your accident?
No. So arms definitely got a lot.
They're crazy. Are those your dad's arms or your mom's arms? Do you know who you get that
Probably
from?
on my father's side for sure. Yeah. The arms. But yeah, they definitely were not that big prior. But when you're in a chair and a lot of the movements, are shoulder and arm intensive. And
man, you are a specimen.
Thanks, man.
Look at you, Jesus. Hey, when I think of, I have a panic attack thinking of not having legs because like my go-to, I like to sweat every day, and it's so easy sweating getting on the assault bike. I don't mean to rub it in your face, but it's you can just get on for 10 minutes and just mangle yourself.
Yeah.
What do you do if you don't have legs? What's the fastest way to sweat if you don't have legs? What's like your go-to, like, fuck, I gotta sweat?
I mean, using the assault bike's a pretty good way to do it.
Oh, so you'll just sit on it, you just do the arms.
So yeah, I can sit on it and I'll just do the arms. So yeah, try and next time you hop on an assault bike, kick your legs up on the pegs and crank it with your
Miserable.
arms. Yeah,
Miserable.
yeah. So
It requires crazy focus
for sure.
to not put my legs down. Crazy focus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a burner for sure. So yeah, I'll do some cardio or the ski. I'll do the skier just seated, just yanking that thing. But yeah.
So machines too. So same machines. So the ski erg. How do you do the ski erg? You just
roll into it. So they actually
lock
make a
off
wider.
the seat. You lock off the seat so the seat doesn't roll around.
Yeah, I'll lock my wheelchair. I'll pull into it. Ski erg makes some wider bases, so you can actually pull your wheelchair all the way up to it. But yeah, so it's just reach up and pull down like you would on a ski. You just can't obviously bend your knees and use that momentum to help you out. But
do you have this equipment at home? Do you have a bike and a
I don't.
No.
No. So I have no home gym. I always travel to my gym here in San Antonio, the Tribe. Get my workouts in. And I also train there as a coach.
Don't you want one of those bikes at home or no?
I would love to, but now that I have a daughter, she is accumulating so many toys, and I just don't have the room. So she took my old workout room. So I had some old equipment, but.
And what are those handles on the other side? Are those some sort of adaptive handles?
For sure, yeah. So those are made by Equip Products, who makes fully adaptive equipment for what we use essentially on most of the workouts for adaptive CrossFit. So those mount on the front of the bar, and you can actually roll up to the front of the bike and use those handles.
But basically, like, so then you're sitting in your chair and you pull and push those handles.
Right. Yeah. And that's how you'll see it in most competitions, because what I'm doing here, a lot of people in my division aren't able to do because they, I'm with hip function athletes, so I can move my legs, and people in my division also have some functionality of their legs.
Yeah.
But getting up to the seat and sitting on it is not possible for the majority of people who compete within my division. So you will always see seated athletes on the front of a Echo bike using those grips.
When your wife sees that article, you guys just start talking on the phone?
Yeah. So, I mean, we exchanged a few messages, and then, we just kind of started talking, and, we were there for each other in some really hard times, for sure.
And how long had it been since she had lost her friend prior to reading your article?
It hadn't been too long, I don't think. Yeah.
Okay, so right around the same time.
Yeah, it was pretty soon after. Yeah.
And when the first time you guys see each other, how do you guys coordinate that?
So I mean, we were talking for probably well over a year before we actually met in person. So it's kind of just back and forth. We talk like every day. So it was just over time we realized, like, hey, we need to meet, so
at that, before you met, did you guys both know that you liked each other? You're like, you just say you're like, hey, I'm attracted to you, like.
Yeah, it didn't happen right away, but it just, well, I mean, the attraction, she's beautiful,
right?
But just the realization, I'm like, oh, like there's something here, so it definitely.
Did you have a girlfriend at the time of your injury, Mike?
I did at the time, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
And then you guys separated?
Yeah. It was a very hard time in my life.
Yeah, I bet.
I was not an easy person to be around. So it was definitely a time in my life where it was coming to terms with, everything, and who I was and my goals, aspirations, like we talked about. And it was a hard time.
Did you ever think about ending your life?
No.
That
kind of,
Does your
I
mom
kind of
ask you
realized,
that, by the way? Does your mom be like, hey, dickhead, if you ever think about ending your life, don't. I'm like, I can't
yeah,
do that. You have to like stick it out for me. Did anyone ever say that to you?
for sure there was concern.
Yeah.
You know, I got out of the military and I lived on my own for several years. So it was just
I
kind
don't
of,
know how you did that. I'd have either stayed in the military or gone back to my mom. I mean,
yeah,
for sure. That's crazy.
yeah. Well, she was there with me in the beginning, because I was unable to do even like normal tasks on my own, even after I got discharged from the hospital. Like I couldn't push up my driveway, um, or anything. So I lost essentially like all the strength or independence I had, and had to kind of rebuild that. So
You couldn't even do one pull. You couldn't even do one pull up. Could you even hang from
no,
a? Could you hang from a bar?
no.
Damn.
So
That's
I actually still have like a massive scar right here. You can't see it too well, but I lost like a good portion of my forearm as well. So even just like pushing around in a chair was difficult. I had an electric chair when I first got injured because I wasn't able to push myself or use a manual chair. So recovery was long, and very difficult to kind of even just get around.
And were you pissed? And when you say you were hard to be around, you were just you were pissed.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, sure, I was upset. I was like, man, like my life is so messed up now. Like, where do I go from here? Um, and just coming to terms with everything, and then coming to terms with everything we had to do over there too. So it was, when you're deployed, you don't think about a lot of that stuff, and you don't work through, everything you just went through. And I'm working through what we had to do on deployment and the things we faced, and then also like not having legs. Um, so it was a very hard shift in my life of, you know, how do I move forward? And I didn't feel like I could.
Yeah, dudes who have great military careers will get out and be like, think for a second that they're incapable of doing anything, like
Right.
because they don't think it's the skills are transferable. So not only do you have all these skills that you don't know that you have, but you came out with like you said, without your legs, and so your whole shit's upside down. And I mean, basically, the part we haven't talked about that you're alluding to now is that and all your muscles had atrophied and you were incapable of even the most basic tasks.
Yeah.
Like not getting up your driveway is fucking feeble as fuck. I mean,
Yeah.
that's decrepitude. That's like, hey, when you see like your mom or your dad that struggled to get up the driveway, you're like, they have a week to live. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, that's like
Right.
fucked up. Wow, crazy,
Yeah. It was
crazy,
definitely like
crazy.
I'm like, just coming to that realization of like, there's nowhere, like I can't do anything on my own. Um, and I, at the time, you don't see how you move forward from that. So it was like I said, it was hard to be around me at the time because I was just miserable. But over time I realized, I was fortunate enough to be exposed to like certain people who had been through the same stuff I had been through, and that helped me kind of see like, okay, there's ways to move forward. This
You
isn't.
did so other dudes who were like 10 years ahead of you in the journey without their legs would like be like, hey, Mike, I'm Sergeant so and so. I was in
Yeah.
this. Oh,
So
that's
I had a lot of people visit me in the hospital, some of them like important politicians or in it, all this other crap of just like random people, like a revolving door wanting
oh,
to
your
come.
governor doesn't have legs.
Yeah.
And
Um,
he's a bad dude. He's a
yeah,
fucking
for
he's a bad
sure.
dude. Yeah.
So yeah, we had like a revolving door of people coming through, but the one I remember the most was, oh, I think I lost you. You still there?
Hold on. Hey, it sounds like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sounds like Sevan's internet went down. Let me see. How about that? Maybe? No? Oh, they can hear both of us. Okay, well, I can't. For whatever reason, I can't hear you. But it sounds like Sevan's internet went down. So he'll probably come back in a few. Sorry, I had to. Well, Mike's audio is down. Okay. How's it going, everybody? I'm at work, if you can tell. This is my guard duty weekend. Can't hear Mike. Did you change your audio at all, Mike, or did you just... All right. No, nothing. That's weird. Let me see if I can fix your audio here. Edit mic settings. Cancellation.
Oh, I hear something now.
There you go.
Hey.
Cool. All right. Hey, Mike. My name's Caleb. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, man.
Sorry, couldn't be here for the rest of the show. It sounds like it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's going well. I don't know what happened to Sevan.
It sounds like his internet went down.
Oh no!
In California, they don't really they don't give you internet. They only give you so much internet. It's like it's like minutes on your phone.
They limit you, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
That sounds about right. Hey, how's it going?
It's going great, man. So Sevan's internet is kaput. He's done.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he
That's
just called
wild.
me and said to do the same, and I scrambled in here and
Oh no!
it's not even working. But yeah, so we're gonna have to get back with you. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That'd be cool.
So yeah,
Just so you know, I'm the one that came up with the title. I just figured it'd be it was a good jab at Colten.
Yeah, I posted it to my story. I was like, sorry, Colten, I promise I didn't choose the title. That was good. I liked it.
Oh, good. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I got to get back to work. So, Souza, are you good to go?
Yeah, I'll land the plane here. Thanks, Caleb. You look good in your uniform. Look at you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Look at you. Dang, boy.
Not as good as Mike, but I try to do a little bit of justice.
Look at Colten over here.
Oh,
there. Ah, man.
Holy shit.
Sorry, Colten. I had to do it. I mean, honestly, it was too easy.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right. Well, it's nice to meet you, Mike. We'll see you later.
You too, man. All right, sounds good.
Later, Caleb. Thank you. All right, Mike. So yeah, someone gave me a call and I saw the text coming through and he's like, my internet's down. And then he called me and he's like, fuck, you have to jump on there and let him know.
Yeah,
So
no, you're good. And then I had a buddy call me. He's like, yeah, you're just by yourself and they're still live. And I was like, oh, I had no idea. I thought it went down.
I don't know if you saw the text I sent you, but as soon as I pulled it up on my phone coming back, I was like, oh shit, he's still live. I was like, don't do anything crazy.
I gotcha. No, I had it on do not disturb, so I didn't know anyone was even still watching.
Smart. Yeah, good.
yeah.
I just was hoping that you didn't, we didn't have any total disaster here with you. You just start picking your nose or something crazy. Like,
yeah,
oh, shit.
no.
Well, thanks so much for your time, brother. We really appreciate it. Like I said, we'll I'll reach back out as soon as I talk with Sevan. We figure out what's exactly going down, and then we'll get you reset up here and kind of finish this off properly.
Okay. Yeah, just let me know.
Right on. Sure will. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one, man.
Later, brother.
See ya.
All right, guys. Interesting. You never know what's going to happen. You're always along for the ride. This is the way we do it. It's live. It's just straight up. It is what it is. Internet goes down. Caleb was able to jump in and help out. And I scrambled in and then, land the plane. But thanks for Thanks for Andres. Andres, should I miss the live again? Kinda. The first hour was good. Eric Wise news with Souza. I don't have any news right now, but I am planning on doing something next week. I think I'm finally going to get it together and do what Sevan's been kind of pushing me to do for a while, which is a weekly show. So I'm thinking it's going to be on Tuesday at 11 a.m. is going to be the plan right now. Good job, Souza and Caleb. Marissa, Souza for the rescue. Actually, Caleb, I think, was really to the rescue. He just jumped in and like kept it going on the phone at work. What a savage. What a savage. Okay, guys. So I think we're gonna be back. Possibly Dave's week in review later on this afternoon. Have you guys been seeing that new news segment that Sevan's been doing? It's been awesome. I mean, the numbers on it are fucking crazy, but I really like that flow and what he's been doing. It's been great. Fuck, my computer's all out of whack. I'm like, it's a mess in here too. Still the chair left over from the live we did last night. Okay, so we'll be back later today, I think, with a week in review. Tomorrow we have Greg Glassman coming up. On the 15th, we have Chris Cooper. So we got a awesome week going down still. So we'll see you guys later today. Adios. Have a great day. Bye-bye.